Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Now, today I'm coming at you guys with a new video. Now, today's subject matter that I wanted to discuss is, first of all, that yesterday, right, my son took it upon himself to just walk out of school, right, walk out of class. Well, it wasn't in class, it was during lunchtime, where a bunch of kids just decided to walk out, just walked out like that, like out of the school, right? Safe to say, when I found out, right, I was pissed because I was like, you're essentially ditching school. You're just leaving like that, right? And I was mad. I started thinking about, back in my days, the same thing, right? Like around when I was around his age, right? I did the same thing. We did a school walkout. It was like 2 day thing, right? And I remember I was just, we didn't even know really why we were doing it, right? We just heard, oh, these little things that they say, like just vague, right? I guess I don't even know what you call it, like lines. I guess that they were just saying like, "Oh, we're doing it because," and everybody's like, "Yeah, let's go," right? Which, be honest, right? None of us really were just kind of like, "Oh yeah, whatever." But it's like, "Oh, we're gonna ditch school," like, you know what I mean? We didn't really know why we were doing it, right? And that's why kind of I put myself in those days, right? And I kind of was like, well, I mean, I had done something similar like that, right? When I was young and naive, I didn't really know anything, why I was even doing it, right? And the same thing with my son. When I talked to him about it, he's not really well, you know, like why they're exactly doing this, right? They're saying because of the protests, because due to the mass deportations that's going on, right? And I wanted to give my thoughts on this. Well, I remember, first of all, in my days, right, when my son was telling me about how I was doing, he said that he's like, everybody, he said that even like school officials were like leaving too and shit. So I was like, oh, like, so in his mind, he's like, oh, yeah, like, like, let's just leave and whatever. It's like, they ended up going over there and, like, over there by, I think, like, downtown Santa Ana, like, around over there where the courts are. Because, mind you, this has been going for, like, 2 day thing, right? When I recorded, right, I was actually in the vicinity. I didn't even know there was a thing, right? When I saw that, I went by in my previous video, if you want to watch it, where I just seen them doing that. So I just kind of passed by and kind of just recorded what was going on. That's why the video was so short, because I wasn't part of the protest. I just seen that they were doing it. I'm like, oh, let me, this would be like a good thing to go down in history, like to show people for the future, right? Future generations, like this is what they were protesting about and whatnot, right? But safe to say, I took my son's phone, right, for them. I told him, it's like having a phone is a privilege, right? And like you just leave school just like that, right? I was like, nah, that ain't gonna fly, right? So I took away his phone. The kids these days, their phone is everything. They can't live without their phone. Oh my God. So yeah, but like I said, I started reminiscing on when I did it. So I was kind of like, man, like I couldn't really say too much because, like I said, when I was young and I didn't really know much, I did the same thing. I actually went like above and beyond. Like I remember that time I was in Spurgeon intermediate, and everybody was saying, "Yeah, we're gonna walk out, we're gonna do all this, whatever." And then when it came time to do it, like for those of you that know Spurgeon, right? The layout of it in the back is a riverbed, and then in the front, I think it's like, what street is it? Fairview? Yeah, Fairview. So I remember usually when I would ditch, I would go through the back, through the riverbed, right? Just they had like a section in the fence where it was even open, like you didn't even have to climb the fence. It was just like open, like you would just walk through the, just walk out like that. But that time I saw like was like a motorcycle cop, so I was like, I'm gonna go to the other side. So I went to the front side on Fairview. Me and my little homie, we were gonna go and we are gonna ditch, right, and we're gonna do all this. And yeah, so once we get there, there's a cop parked like right next, like right there. Like he was literally parked like right on the side, right, facing towards like my direction, right? So my friend, he's like, oh, I'm not gonna do it, whatever. I jumped the fence. I end up freaking getting stuck. That fence is high. That fence is literally like at least 12 feet, right? So I end up like getting stuck on the very top, like my pants get stuck, like my dickies, I'm just like hanging, like, oh shit. I end up getting free, I fall, and I just run away in front of the cop, and like, just to give you guys that. That's why I was thinking when my son told me that, I was just reminiscing on that, but I was like, oh yeah, I remember. Um, Even though you're saying like it's for a noble cause, right? Now, for me personally, my views on it, I try to kind of be, impartial to the matter. For me, I see it like this, like the law is the law, right? And essentially, like how people see it, right, is like, well, you crossed here illegally, so you essentially, I guess, broke the law, right? Uh, and that's what they've been doing, right? Just taking people, and a lot of people are upset about that, right? Now, my heart goes out to a lot of the people that is like, because people are saying, oh yeah, well they're criminals, like what does it matter? But I just like I put myself in their shoes, right? Because I'm like, as most of us, right, when we're younger, we did crimes or we got arrested or whatever, we paid our debt back to society, right? And we came out. But most of us probably changed our lives. We got a job. We've been productive members of society, right? Doing our thing. And I just look like, damn, that would suck, right? Like if it's just like, man, I did a crime way back in the day, and like now they're coming for me. And now that I started up a family, right? So I put myself in those shoes, right? Even though, like I said, the law is the law. So I mean, that's what they're doing, right? I mean, what can you do, right? That's why they're protesting, right? Counter, right, to what they're doing. Um, but it doesn't mean that we can't sympathize with these individuals, right? Because like I said, if they would have been doing this in the 80s, right, when there was a lot of people coming, right, immigrating here to the United States, right, uh, then we'd probably be saying a different thing, right? Because like I said, there was a lot of people like I imagine like some of us, right? Like if they were doing that, because now they're going into food's paths and they're saying that like if your mom or whoever is there that they're like came here illegally, that they're going too, right? Even though they were coming for the food that has a record, right? So I was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like imagine, like yeah, right, like back in the days if you were messing around, right? And they come and they're coming for you, and then they see your jefita right there, or they see your dad, right, or your whoever, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's time to go, right? Like I said, it's fucked up, and like I said, my heart does go out to them, right? The people that were continuously committing crimes and stuff like that, in and out, right, catch and release, that they were just going in and out. Then I mean, you kind of made your bed and you have to lay on it. Uh, like I said, I just look at it like it is the law. So I mean, it is what it is. What can you do, right? That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. But it doesn't mean that we can't. Like, there's a lot of people that I see like, oh, who cares? It is, but it's like you gotta put yourself in their shoes too, right? Like, even though, like I said, yeah, they're breaking the law and they're taking them away, right? But it's like to be uprooted from your whole life like that, right? It's pretty messed up, right? It's hard, right? Especially me, because like I said, I know people that it was like even before all this, right? They were like, man, I'm going to San Diego, you know what I mean? Like, I still la mira or whatever. So they don't even, so they were ready, right? So now I've been seeing a lot of, I was reading these articles where there's families afraid to take their kids to school, right? You know how usually Raza, they take the moms always in the morning, like taking them to school, shit, 6, 7 in the morning, right? Uh, there's been a drop in attendance in school, right? In schools. A lot of people are afraid to even that's what I noticed the other day. I'm like, damn, it's freaking dead. I'm like, where's everybody at? Like ghost town, right? Like straight ghost town, where I was like, there's not even cars, right? I was like, it's crazy. Like I said, I try to be like in the middle, where it's like, you know what, like I said, if uh they're here illegally, and then now they're, I guess, taking the people that are here, like they say it's a crime, right? So I mean, we gotta follow the law, but then at the same time, I don't. I think that we could be, like I said, more empathetic towards the people and being like, damn, it sucks, instead of just dehumanizing them and making it seem like, oh, too bad, like who cares, right? Because like I said, if that was your jefita or that was your pops or that was your, it would suck. You know what I mean? It would be messed up, and especially if, like I said, if we did a crime when we were 18 or whatever, then now they're coming to get me, but then it's like, damn, my jefita's right here, right, or something. That would suck, right? So you got to put yourself in those situations, right? And I know a lot of people, but that's what I told my son too. I told my son, I'm like, look, man, like it's the same thing with me, right? Like with me, like I was blessed enough to be able to expunge my criminal record, right? But if they decide, the laws change, whatever, and then they decide, you know what, like, nah, like screw that, right? You're gonna get your record back. Like it's just gonna, that's just what it is, right? Like your record is still gonna show, right? Even though I paid this money, even though I did, right, paid my debt to society. But then at the end of the day, it's like it will suck and I will be sad. But at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, that's what it is, and that's what it is. And sometimes you gotta live with the choices that you make, right? And that's why I tell my son all the time, right? I'm like, man, you gotta think shit through, man, because there's some things that you do, right? Like, it'll come back later, right? So, like, these instances, right? You probably changed your life, or you were probably doing whatever. Now it's all coming back, right? That's why, if anything, it leads to show, right? Because there's a lot of people like, you could come here legally, right? It's a process, obviously. It's a long, and I would imagine strenuous process, but it could be done, right? And like I said, you got to put yourself in their shoes, because they're coming from, places where it's all bad, right? Like, a lot of people say, they're like, a lot of the people that I seen on the, like, in the place, right? They're like, waving, like, that's one thing that I've seen a lot of people complaining about, that they're like, man, they're waving the Mexican flag, like, if they like it so much, how come they're like, they don't just go back over there, you know what I mean? But I'm like, you got to remember that a lot of the ones that are doing that, they're Hispanics. They were born in America, right? Like, the real, Raza community, Mexican communities, and not just the Mexican community, because this is happening, but I'm speaking from what I know, what I'm seeing, right? The Hispanic community that's going on, right? Because it's not just Mexicans that are being deported, right? So, uh, a lot of the raza, right? They're fearful, right? Just in general, even before this, they're always like, "Oh, la policía," like, like, they're very, like, I guess you could say, scared when it comes to authority, right? And yeah, you just see them, like I said, you know, they're just really pretty much laying low, hiding and stuff like that. Uh, what do you guys think, right? Like I said, I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, right? I'm not saying that it's good to break the law or anything like that, but at the same time, what I'm saying is that, showing sympathy for people, it goes a long way.